Hello everyone, today I am here to share with you all of the books I read in October. So I read 8 books, all of them were kind of around spooky, paranormal, just spooky reads that I read for October. Unfortunately, I have no 5 stars this month. Every book I read was either 3 or 4 stars. So it was a pretty good month as far as like spooky reads go, but nothing that I truly and 100% love. But there was a lot of books that I really enjoyed. And there were some that I was like, they were okay. As always, I'm going to start out with my least favorite book, working up to my favorite. So, the first couple books I'm going to share, I both rated 3 stars. They were my only 3 stars. The rest were 4 stars, weird enough. That's just how it was. The first book that I want to talk about is Now Entering Annabelle by Francesca Zappia. I gave this book a 3 out of 5. I really wanted to love it, but sadly, I did not. It was a real struggle getting through this book, honestly. And I thought I would just fall in love with it because the premise and plot just sound amazing. Basically, we have the town of Adamsville, and it's kind of haunted. Everyone knows there's ghosts and all this kind of stuff. And we follow a character named Zora. And Zora's family has had a spot of bad luck. Her dad's in jail. Her mother has run off, so it's just kind of her and her sister. She can also see ghosts as well. And then she's also framed for a lot of crimes in this town that she did not commit, so everyone's kind of looking at her horribly. And then basically we have this ghost documentary that comes into town because they've heard about this town and it's really famous for ghosts, and that shakes up things. And then things get really progressively weird and like difficult to understand. So I thought ghosts would be the main forefront in this book because I was like, oh, a town about ghosts. But it really wasn't. It was about these fire starters and things like that. And it got really like, I didn't understand it at all, and I didn't really understand how it played into the plot. So sadly, I didn't love this book, and I'm explaining it horribly because I can't really explain it. It was an odd book to really talk about. So, I mean, I just really struggled to get through this book. I really wanted to DNF it, honestly, and I kind of might change my rating to 2 out of 5, honestly. Goodreads reviews, there's some that are great, there's some that are not so great. I fall in the I didn't really enjoy it category. So I would say if you really love the author and want to read more of her books, check it out. But as far as like spooky paranormal reads, I don't think it was there, but that's just my opinion. So 3 out of 5, maybe a 2 out of 5. I'll have to see how I had to marinate on it. The other 3 out of 5 was Winterwood by Shay Earnshaw. I actually just put up a single review on this book alone, so if you want to hear about it, click right here to see more. This is a rating that also might change because I have heard this is the arc of this book and it comes out in November. I don't know when exactly in November, but I have heard there is going to be significant changes from the arc to the finished copy. So I might reread a couple of those to figure out where exactly she changed it, and might change my rating, honestly. Overall, I love Shay Earnshaw's writing. You guys know that. I say that time and time again. I love The Wicked Deep by her, and I just love her writing. Anything she writes, I will read. I'm just gonna throw it out there because she just writes really dark and atmospheric books that I just can't get enough of. But why this was a 3 out of 5 is because the plot just wasn't there for me. I don't think it was as strong as The Wicked Deep. In this book, we follow a character named Nora Walker. She is a Walker, and her Walker family are witches. Every one of her, like her mother, her grandmother, things like that, were all witches, and they all have this nightshade, and Nora hasn't discovered hers. And Nora is also living alone because her grandmother just passed away, and her mother just kind of ran off and not wanting to really embrace her witchhood. I don't know what the right terminology is for that. So she lives alone in this really small like mountain village where like people leave during the winter because it snows so much, and when it snows they can't leave because the roads are blocked, there's no electricity, it's just really desolate. So Nora decides to stay, and there she goes into these woods and she meets a boy that has actually gone missing from the camp across the lake that is kind of a camp for like troubled boys, I guess you could say, and a mystery kind of unfolds from there. Overall, a 3 out of 5, like I said. I enjoyed it, but I definitely wanted more from it. The writing was beautiful. I thought just the whole atmosphere with the witches was great, but Nora wasn't a very, amazing character. The plot was also just not as strong as I wanted it to be, but would I recommend it? Bottom line is yes, I would, because the writing and just atmosphere is just amazing. Like Shay Earnshaw made me cold on like an 80-degree day because it's 80 degrees still here, and it made me want to bundle up in a blanket by a fire because she wrote it that well. So I just love her writing and would always recommend her books even if I don't love the plot. The writing is just superb. So 3 out of 5, but again, my rating might change depending on how the finished copy goes. So the rest of my books are 4 stars, so I didn't really categorize these. I don't really have a favorite for this month, honestly. There wasn't any book that I was just like, this is my favorite. Usually I have a very easy time just establishing my favorite. This month I They're all just 4 stars. So I just put them all in a stack. The first one, oh, The Beautiful Byron. I also have a full review on this as well. I'm doing match reviews and full reviews this month, so yay. This one is the notorious vampire book. This one is like kind of kickstarting the vampire love, which I highly appreciate it for it. But this one, you'll have to see my review, and I talk really in depth about does it deliver on the vampire front or not. So I don't want to spoil that for you. So go check out the review. This one is set in the 1800s in New Orleans. We follow a character named Celine who lives in France and moves to New Orleans, and basically a set of murders happen around her, and things are kind of paranormal, things are going weird, things like that. Overall, I gave it a 4 out of 5. This was one of my most, if not my most anticipated book of the year because vampires, we all know I'm a vampire junkie, as most of us are. And I really wanted to love it because of that, but I just didn't. And like I say, you can see my review if you weren't really in depth to it. I liked it, I just didn't like love it, and I really wanted to love it. But this is going to be a 4-book series, and I am planning to continue on with the series, and I think I'm going to love the series more it progresses. I'm really excited for the second book, especially the way the first book ended. That's all I'll say. Again, check out my review. Wayward Son by Rainbow Rowell. This is the sequel to Carry On, so I can't say too much about it. I do have this in a matchup review if you want to hear more, but bottom line is I read Carry On this year. I fell in love with it. It's a very satire-y kind of funny take on Harry Potter. It's the best way I could describe it. Like Simon and Baz or like Harry and Draco. Just think about that. And Wayward Son was very different than Carry On, but also the same, if that makes any sense. Carry On was just funny, satire-y. I just loved it. It was a good time reading that book. It's one of my favorite books of the year. Wayward Son is definitely a much darker tone because Wayward Son takes on the whole thing of like what happens when the war's done and your heroes save the day. What happens after that? And it gets kind of dark, and Simon's in a very kind of dark place. Basically, Simon, Baz, and Penny go to America, take a road trip. Things get really chaotic, really crazy. I give this book a 4 out of 5. I wanted to love it, but I think I loved Carry On for how funny and whimsical and satire-y it is, and I understand that you have to get, you can't just keep writing the same thing every time in a series. It can't be all funny, but I just wanted more of that. This one delved much into the characters, like, this one really delved into the characters' depth and what they were feeling and their struggle with depression and just where do we go from here kind of thing. So I did appreciate that, but I just honestly wanted to be more funny. Is that bad to say? I don't know, but I still really enjoyed it. I love Rainbow Rowell's writing. You guys know this. Rainbow Rowell is one of my favorite authors. And I will continue to plan with the series because I think the third book will be the last one. And I'm very excited to see how it's all going to wrap up. Next up is a book I did not even plan to read. I was thinking about it and then I just picked it up on a whim and I'm so glad I did. And that is Rules for Vanishing by Kate Alice Marshall. This is a YA horror, I would say, because it is scary. I don't read a lot of scary stuff because your girl's a chicken. But this book is basically about a girl named Sarah. And Sarah's sister has gone missing like a year ago. There's this woods and there's this game of Lucy. It says, the only way, I'm going to have to read the back of it to describe it the best. It says, Sarah knows the only way to save her sister is to follow the road in the woods. The one that only appears once a year. The one with rules and secrets that travelers must keep. The one Lucy Gallows walked decades ago before she disappeared and became nothing more than a ghost and legend. Sarah knows that if she steps on the road and she might not come back, but she has to try. The road is calling her and Lucy is waiting. So we have this road and it appears once a year. Her sister has gone missing on this road, so she and a whole bunch of her friends go on this road and it gets crazy. Like, this book, I was not expecting it to really be kind of scary. Like, it almost gave me nightmares, but I mean, don't take that with a grain of salt because I'm scared so insanely easy. But it was really creepy, and this was almost like a full 5 out of 5 because I enjoyed it that much and it was creepy and weird. I was like, this is so insane. But the ending, I loathed the ending. The ending is going to be one that you're either going to hate or you love. I just found it too abrupt, just not anything very much answered. I did not like the ending, so I gave it a 4 out of 5. I have to be honest, the ending really affected my rating of this, but overall, it was mysterious. I didn't know it was coming. It went there. It was creepy. If you're looking for a creepy YA read, this one is it. I haven't heard too many people talk about it. I heard about it from Julie from Pages of Pen. So thank you, Julie, for recommending it. I really enjoyed it. The ending, kind of messed it up for me, but still, creepy, perfect read for Halloween. Next up, my only adult thriller I read this month, which is really weird. I feel like usually I'm pretty good with reading thrillers in October. Not this month, apparently. Someone We Know by Sherry LaPena. I really enjoyed it, gave it a 4 out of 5. It's a short, you know, adult thriller. It's basically about a woman that goes missing and is found dead, and she's from this neighborhood, so we follow a plethora of main characters from this neighborhood, and you have to figure out, like, who done it, and do you really know somebody, and do you know your neighbor? What other secrets they're hiding? It was very reminiscent of Big Little Lies, I'm Watching You by Lisa Jules, where it's kind of like, you just have to dissect character psyches and figure out things. I liked it. Again, it's short and sweet. It's only like 300 pages, which I think is a great length for a thriller because I don't want it to be too long, but I don't want it to be too short. So like 250, 300, I think is a great page length for it. And yeah, I liked it. It's definitely my favorite Sherry LaPena book I've read so far. I think I haven't read one by her. Then I have Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell, illustrated by Faith Erin Hicks. I gave this a 4 out of 5. I thought this was adorable. This is a YA graphic novel, and we follow a character named Jasia and Josie who work at this pumpkin patch, and it's their last night there, and they go on this grand adventure for Josie to finally tell this girl that he likes her and things like that, and they just kind of tour the pumpkin patch. And it's not just a pumpkin patch, my friend. What I loved about this book the most is just them touring the entire thing, because they have more than pumpkin patches. They have like several food places, like with caramel apples. They have a s'mores pit, a petting zoo, Pappy's Apples, a train station, a pumpkin bomb. By the way, I don't know if pumpkin bombs are like a real thing, but not where I live. After reading this book, like I wanted one immediately. A pumpkin bomb basically is 2 pieces of pumpkin pie and sandwiched in the middle is vanilla ice cream, and then you cover the whole thing in chocolate. Tell me you don't want that right now, because I do. Like, I want to recreate it myself, but calories. But either way, but if there's like actual pumpkin bombs, or this is actual fictional, let me know. Are there pumpkin bombs where you live? And if so, can you send me one? So I love them just touring the entire pumpkin patch in search of this girl, and they also tried all these foods, and I just loved it so much. So that was my favorite aspect of this book. Overall, the plot is not like super strong. It's just a night at a pumpkin patch. I'd say if you are a seasonal reader and love fall, you will love this book. I love fall. It's my favorite season of the whole year. I just can't get enough of autumn. So this spoke directly to my heart, which is why I gave it a 4 out of 5. I probably would give it a 5 out of 5, but I was like, I can't just base it alone for my autumn love. I have to be realistic here. I loved it. I thought it was cute, adorable. If you want a quick, cute read with autumnness, like, look no further, my friends, because this one delivers. Like, and pumpkin bombs. Like, hit me up with some pumpkin bombs, please. And the last book I have that I want to talk about is Strange Grace by Tessa Gratton. I think this might be my favorite book of the month. I don't know. Either way, I give it 4 out of 5. This one is a highly underrated book here on BookTube. I didn't hear much about it. But I think my friend Jen from Pinot and Pages really loved it, so I was like, I should check it out. Basically, we have this village that long ago the village made a pact with the devil in the woods. And basically, every 7 years, the village offers up their best boy from the village, and he goes into the woods with the devil on the night of the blood moon. And when that happens, it's kind of used as a sacrifice. The village is great. Like, their harvests are bountiful. There's no sickness. There's no illness. It's just a great, you know, village from that. And sometimes the boy survives, sometimes they do not. So basically, we have a blood moon, and we follow 3 characters named Marwyn, Rune, and Arthur, and they kind of play a part into this whole really creepy woods. Marwyn is the witch of the village, and Rune is the like best boy in the village, and then we have Arthur, who's kind of the outcast, and they all 3 team up, and it gets polyamorous, which I was not expecting, but I enjoyed, and it was just very interesting. It was very creepy, very atmospheric, but highly recommended. I mean, I think honestly, if you want to try out some books that you haven't heard a lot of people talk about that are perfect for Halloween, these 2 are it. I don't hear barely anybody talking about them on BookTube, but they were both very perfect for Halloween and like creepiness in my opinion, so I would highly recommend them both. Those are all the books I read in October. Another great spooky month of reading. As always, I get very excited for October in the beginning because I'm like, spooky books, give me all of them. And by the end of October, I'm like, all right, I need my typical YA contemporary chick lit, adult chick lit books to kind of just get me into my comfort zone because I read so different in October, but I enjoy that because I feel like I can't read the same genre every single month. Otherwise, I would not grow as a person. So either way, let me know what books you've read. If you've read any of these and things like that, I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions. And also pumpkin bumps, like your girl needs one. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.